Hi, this is Danny Borris again, and this video represents number 18 in my collection of model toy soldiers. I believe in always buying the best pieces I can, and this I do with all of my figures, including the Tradition of London set that you're looking at now. The set is the British 4.7-inch naval gun. It is pulled by a full complement of 18 oxen and accompanied by the naval gun team in khaki and slouch hats. It is also accompanied by native oxen drivers and a mule train. During the Boer War in South Africa, there was a shortage of heavy artillery on the side of the British, and the solution was to remove heavy guns from warships and mount them on wheels for land service. There are 13 foot figures and one mounted officer in this grouping. The next group shows British Lancers and Dragoons in full dress. These sets are by Marlborough and Britons. They represent two sets of Lancers on foot at attention, one mounted set of 3 Lancers and one mounted kettle drummer. The Britons figures are heavy Dragoons produced in 1992 for the centenary year. This set comprises 4 mounted figures. The grouping also contains the Royal Company of Archers by Marlborough Miniatures. Total figures in the group, 8 mounted and 18 foot. This next grouping is again from Don Trioni, a master artist and printmaker, and this particular grouping of soldiers represents a print that he produced of US Marines wading ashore. With the model soldiers, I have incorporated other groups. There are Confederates who are resisting the landing, and among them are, once again, graduates from the Virginia Military School, so mere boys really stopping the US Marines landing. Also working with the Marines to get them ashore safely, we have some dismounted cavalry and Zouaves. The next grouping is Donald Featherstone's Ancient Armies. Donald loved to wargame in the ancient period. He favoured Carthaginians, although his cavalry are very diverse and suggest he fought with many different army groups. The figures are almost exclusively by minifig and consist of 141 mounted figures and 144 foot figures. He told me with pride that he had beaten Phil Barker using the War Games Research Group rules. Ironically, Phil Barker told me the same story the same day. This next grouping shows figures from the Fort Henry Guard and from the Welsh Fusiliers. In both cases, we see the coloured parties and their escorts and the maskets. The Fort Henry Guard are in uniform to this day. In Kingston, Ontario, the Fort Henry has been kept in magnificent condition, and every weekend there is a military tattoo where the bands and infantry of Fort Henry parade. The figures show 2 box sets from William Britton's of the Fort Henry Guard, and the remainder are Marlborough figures, both up for the Fort Henry Guard and for the Welsh Fusiliers. This next set is Hitler's car, circa 1939. It's jam-packed with his SS protectors and thugs. Behind it marches two more, and in front of it another on a horse with carol drums. I find the horse to be blameless. They make a grand spectacle. I don't condone any Nazi behaviour or beliefs, I abhor them. My mother and father worked in the shipyards in the River Clyde during World War II, all through the air raids that flattened Clyde Bank, just like London was flattened. My mother was a welder, my father a ship's plater. In their own way, they did their best and played their part in the overthrow of the Third Reich. We must recognise and remember history and strive to ensure its horrors are not repeated. The figures are king and country and include 9 foot and 1 mounted figure. Their attitude of eliteness and superiority are caught and frozen in time. This next grouping shows the Aussies. I spent years working in Australia and I bought all these figures when I was there. There are 3 sets of William Britton's holocast, the first Australian light horseman produced by King and Country. This one is on foot. 2 figures, 1 mounted Aussie at light horse and 1 set of Simpson and Duffy makers unknown to me. And 1 additional set of Simpson and Duffy given to me as a gift from my team when I left Australia to return home. 2 sets of the Aussie holocasts are in blue dress uniforms, mint condition, and kind of like the Salvation Army, lovely figures. The 3rd set is in the more familiar barrel dress and slouch hat. I bought from Peter Nathan, Toy Soldiers in Sydney. The light horseman I bought at Peter's shop during a visit from Andy Nielsen of King and Country. We went to the same school in Scotland, but I'd never met until in Australia. The mounted light horse figure I bought in Canberra at the War Memorial, as I did Duffy and Simpson, a man and his donkey, 2 Aussie heroes. Total figures in the group, 28 foot, 1 mounted. The Fall of Berlin. Another superior depiction of the fall of Berlin by King and Country. A German Puma armoured vehicle comes face to face with a Russian T-34 tank. This time it's the Puma that is outgunned by the Russian tank. Set against a superb backdrop, 8 German infantry also await the assault, and 1 Russian tanker has dismounted with his pistol at the ready. All by King and Country. There are 2 armoured vehicles, 1 scenic backdrop, and 9 foot figures in this diorama. This grouping is of a Union infantry band in full dress and a Confederate colour party. The Union infantry consist of 3 sets by Edmonds. They are quite delightful in their full dress blue uniform. The Confederate colour party is by Blenheim Miniatures, the Scroby's first figure line, which was produced from 1970 to 1980. So virtually antique at the time of writing. Total foot figures for the grouping, 23. This next set is of Greeks and barbarians from the collection of Cyrus Eaton's grandson. I purchased the figures from the collection of Cyrus Eaton's grandson 26 years ago. The paint job is simple, and yet they look stunning en masse. None are toy soldiers. Some are rose miniatures. Most are makers unknown to me. The Greek ranks show various periods of history. The city-states with their hopalon shield, and the Mycenaeans with their figure 8 shields. The barbarians come from most periods of ancient history: Hittites, Peliset, Egyptians, Numidians, Persians, Medes and more. There are 38 Greek foot and 1 mounted. There are 70 barbarian foot and 2 mounted.